Go for
Welcome to Geek Vice number 43, our year anniversary and celebration. Do we have a soundboard? Did we get a soundboard? Didn't we say we were going to get a soundboard?
it. Couldn't
Yeah,
get
we
anything
tried
to
that.
work.
It doesn't work. Everyone who wants us to have a soundboard that's good and can have funny things on it, everyone send an email to Google and tell them to add functionality for Google Hangouts with soundboard, because it won't let you do it.
You know what when you guys talked about soundboard, the first thing that came to mind is that we should get like the Little John soundboard, so you could be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I heard that one. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got 12 that comes with Google Hangouts, but you can't add your own unless you're a developer and smart, and I'm neither one of those things. So I'm
Oh,
stuck with 12.
that's anarchy.
Yeah. It sucks.
Anarchy. But anyway, we have a very exciting show today. I just derailed myself within the first 2 minutes, which is actually a good thing because that's kind of the history of our show.
Pretty much the way it works, isn't it?
Yeah, we have a plan and just doesn't work. So, hello, welcome to Geek Vice, a podcast by a few geeks traveling to be heard around the world, not flooded with geeks. And with you today, your host is John Guzman, aka Loktar. And my claim to fame in the geek world is coming back to being a WoW player and the guild leader of Reloaded Whisperwind US, because I'm going to start playing the game again. But with me, I don't know if I like that. That's distracting as hell.
That was awesome.
With me, I have Morph, the bartender for the zombie apocalypse. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing well.
Are you a little chilly because you did the ice bucket today?
I am no longer chilly, and actually, when it's 90-some degrees outside and you dump ice on you, it actually kind of feels good, so I'm alright with it.
And the third corner of our crazy triangle, Mr. Kip, a man boldly going from the couch to the kitchen and back again.
That's me.
Are you drinking?
Well, if you can see behind me, I finished my whiskey earlier, so now I'm drinking water.
Aww.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Geek Vice logo actually gets right in front of the bottle, so doesn't look like it's quite empty.
How's that?
Not better.
Not better. Let's try cantilevering it. There we go.
There you go. Yeah, now it gives the illusion that your house is, slightly tilted to the right.
It is.
And for
Yeah,
those
it
of
is
you
weird
guys,
that it's crooked like that.
yeah. For those of you that cannot see the video, yeah, this is really entertaining for us. But you know
For
what?
those who can't see the video, here you go.
There we go. Now the producer is going to have a ton of fun with the soundboard. But, before we get into the topics tonight, we have a lot of topics, and we also have a little, kind of like a recap, some of the greatest hits, the things that you should go back and listen to from our podcast from the past year. Is we actually came up after many meetings. We met forever, and we came up with our own drinking game. So the Geek Vice drinking game has got a very simple name. It's called the M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong Douchebag Porn. So the rules are very simple. Every single time that you hear M. Night Shyamalan, douchebag, or porn, you take a drink.
Well, I got to drink 3 times now.
It doesn't get any simpler
Cheers.
than that. There you go. I'm taking a drink too.
I like
So
it.
every single time that you hear any one of those, and you're listening to our podcast, and you're able, willing, and not driving, go ahead and take a drink.
Yeah, that's gonna make people listening to our podcast get drunk really fast.
Yeah, but they need to.
They do
Well.
to listen to us.
That is true.
But we do have a lot to talk about today, and But before we get into all of this, did you watch Guardians of the Galaxy yet?
No,
What?
I
Oh,
I wanted to go on Saturday evening, and I had it all planned out. I thought we were gonna go, and then my wife said, "You know what? I don't really want to see that. I want to go car shopping." So I went car shopping instead.
did you get a car?
No, but we looked at a couple cars.
This is so unsatisfying.
I know. You're telling me. It was kind of nice because we didn't have the kids, so we were able to actually, deal with hassling car salesmen, and we could actually take our time and look at stuff, which was kind of nice.
So you had no kids and you left the house?
Yeah, I know. It's pretty amazing.
I am somewhat disappointed though, because I think she would like the movie.
Well, that's what I tried to tell her, and she just wouldn't. She's not willing to jump off that bridge. So I'll have to find a time to go with other people, like my Geek Vice co-hosts.
Hey, I told you I had Saturday morning and Sunday morning both available.
Well, I thought I was going to be able to convince her to go. I thought she was in for it, and she threw me a curveball. So
Well, she obviously had it all planned.
I'll get it seen eventually.
It's just kind of disappointing because you put in so much work towards getting everybody hyped up by the movie, and you haven't even been able to like watch it.
I know. Well, and yeah, but it doesn't stop me from listening to all the podcasts about it and all the people. I'll read all the reviews for it, so I pretty much know most of what goes on in the movie. I just haven't seen it yet.
Well, we're going to start a new contest, and it's going to be get Morph's balls back so he can actually go see the movie.
Wow! Damn! What did you drink? Did
I
you
like that.
All of it.
you drank Ball Kicker whiskey?
No, but that should be a thing.
Next week I'm gonna have a jar sitting behind me that's my nuts in a jar. How about that?
Ooh, challenge accepted. Can you even get him back from her?
Yeah, she lets me have them every once in a while.
We just gotta get a receptacle for it. I think those are your nuts calling back.
Yeah, they miss you.
Damn. But anyway,
Yeah.
let's pick on Kip, the drunken dude. What is this topic about? What is it with leadership, movies versus corporate America?
Well, speaking of movies, we went and saw Expendables 3. Holy shit, I almost forgot the name. And it was actually a really good movie, but the whole time I'm watching it, I'm thinking, why is Sylvester Stallone the leader of this group, and why do they follow him? And the more I thought about it, the more I realized the part he plays in the movie has the leadership qualities that I wish we had in corporate America, specifically where I fucking work. And so I started doing some research. But first of all, I wrote down my list of what I thought were the premier leadership qualities a leader should have. And then I did the research to see how many websites agreed with me, and I ended up compiling a list of 6. And so we'll just start off.
Yeah.
Number one, lead by example. And what I mean by that is Sylvester Stallone's character doesn't ask anybody on his team to do something that he would not do himself, or already has done, or is going to be doing it alongside of them. I don't know how it is in most places, but I've worked at a lot of places where the people in leadership positions tend to view a lot of jobs as beneath them, and even when the chips are down, won't help won't
Mhm.
jump in there and do it because this job is just beneath me. And it's too bad because I would totally follow somebody who got in there and got dirty with me and got things done. So that was the first thing I thought was the most important.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this though. Is this also in the same vein of do as I say, not as I do?
It can be, but I'd rather. It's to me. No, actually, to me, it's the opposite. If it's do as I say, not as I do, that's completely opposite of what I want out of the leader.
Right, right. That's what I'm. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. That there's a lot of shitty leaders that kind of says like, well, this is the right way to do it, even though I don't like. For example, I deal with a lot of people that work in computer security, right? So you lock down, all of the websites that you can go to, and you have the most secure network in the world. But you know what? The chief executive bullshitter of the company has to have a special permission so that he can go and see whatever the hell he wants. So that's kind of counterproductive. Like I actually had somebody that I knew quit because basically his boss was the biggest threat to their network.
That's bad.
So that's a shitty leader right there.
Yeah. Well, Morph knows what I'm talking about here. We've seen many times of leadership that can't even do my job.
Wow.
Yep.
They would honestly they can't do my job, and they're
Yep.
trying to tell me how to
But
do
your
my
job
job.
is specialized, though. I mean, do you think that every single boss should know how to do your job, or?
If you do what I do for a living, and you went to school and got a bachelor's degree to do what I do for a living,
Oh, I
you
see.
better be able to fucking do my job. And nobody in leadership in a lot of places I've worked can do my job.
Well, and it's not even so much that they should be able to. It's not like we're asking them to be able to do my job or Kip's job as well as we can, but just to be able to you need to be able to do it enough to understand what you're asking me to do.
Okay. So Sylvester Stallone does lead by example in the movie.
Yes. He is right there with them. He is getting shot at just like they are. He's getting his ass kicked by, the bad guy just as much as they are. And I think that's why he chose those qualities for his character in the movie. It's nobody would follow somebody if he's sitting there saying, "Well, I'm going to stay on the airplane, and you guys go in there and face the fire and the bullets whizzing by your head and rescue this person, and I'll just wait here and keep the plane warmed up." They'd be like, "Yeah, fuck you." and I think that's corporate America. Morph is going to agree with this. I don't know how many times it's like, I don't know how we're going to get all this done. We could really use some help. It's like, well, you're just going to have to work more hours. And it's like, no, why don't you get off your fucking lazy ass and help me, and nobody has to work until 4 in the morning.
Yes. Yeah. No, I mean, that's... Well, but I will tell you that not every place is like that.
Oh, not every place, and not every
corporate
corporation leader is that way either.
Right, but
I'm just saying, as an example, I want a leader that is not afraid to roll up his sleeves and jump in there and help the entire group out get something done when push comes to shove. I don't want them to be like doing it on a daily basis because I'm failing at my job, but there's just sometimes things just pile on you, and it needs to be all hands on deck. And that's just, to me, the number one leadership quality is lead by example. You do what you want your people, you behave the way you want your people to behave. If you want everybody to take the can-do attitude of, well, this needs to get done and I can do this, so I'm going to jump in and get this done to help the project get done. If the leader's that way, his people will do the same thing. If he's honest ethical, his people will be the same way. Lead by example. Number one.
Fair enough. That's a good number one.
My number two is foster potential. And I wrote a deal at work kind of as a joke. It was the 10 immutable laws of my department. And one of the laws I wrote that people get promoted for resume, not ability. So number two is foster potential. Spot, encourage, and develop the potential of your people.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody who's got, the resume, from on high is good at their job. But there are some people who are really good at their job that don't have the certificate, the bachelor's degree, whatever. It's a pool of people. Figure out who your really good ones are and encourage them, help them develop, and give them room to grow. So to me, that's number two.
That's a fair one, and I think it is. And how did Sylvester Stallone display that in the movie?
He doesn't display that a whole hell of a lot in the movie, but there's definitely a hierarchy to his team. Jason Statham's number two, and then everybody else is kind of fit their niche.
Is this the one where they kind of have to rescue their own kids?
Yeah, I guess you could say rescue their kids. He replaces his old team because he doesn't want them to get hurt, and brings in these young kids because he thinks it's a young person's game. Well, of course, the young kids get kidnapped, has to bring back the old team and go rescue them. And I'm using Expendables 3 as an example. A really good example of this one is the 13th Warrior.
Okay.
Bovine is the leader. He's the Sylvester Stallone of this movie. I can't remember what the guy's name is, but he is definitely the number two. He is the guy that everybody kind of looks to when the main guy gives a command. Sometimes they look at him like, really? And he's like, yes, he said it, we're doing it. He's the one that takes charge when the number one guy was dying. And then everybody else had their niche role. The one guy who climbs in through the caves to find the way to get to the bad guys. The person who knows how to set up the proper defenses. It's that kind of leadership right there that I'm talking about, and that's what you get displayed in some of these movies. I don't see it a whole heck of a lot in corporate America.
Fair enough.
Number three, we'll get through these quickly. Communicate.
I thought that was number 4.
It's number 3.
I can't count. That's not a good leadership.
Number 3.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, communicate. In the movies, this is the plan. This is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. And in corporate America, they can't tell you everything. I realize that. But at least kind of give you an idea of what's going on. Because I have seen it millions of times where things are kept top secret and people guess what's going on, and they always side to the air of the worst case scenario. And that causes a lot of negativity.
Yep, I have to agree with you on that one, that lack of communication is probably one of the most, I don't know if the word is pervasive, but I think I think pervasive fits, right? Like, I think that's one of the things that affects the most, corporate America in general, because I think you hit it right on the head when you let people, just guess what's going on instead of knowing what's going on. Most people are pretty pessimistic.
Yes.
And they guess the worst case scenario, and it just creates problems.
Yeah.
And it's, I think a lot of people misinterpret communication. I don't think communication is about knowing the whole plan, but you gotta be able to share, your vision, and you gotta be able to share, the overall plan and where, give people direction. One thing that has been really interesting about, and I've worked on startups before, has been that I see a lot of people that are really good at different things, and you get to wear a lot of hats when you're in a small company. But there are people that just need that structure. There are people that just need to have a specific plan and a specific set of tasks, and then they do much better. And I've seen that in the consulting world, and I've seen it over and over and over that if you come up with a plan and you give people and you communicate that plan and you communicate what it is that your ultimate goal is, it seems a lot of people are able to work within that framework. But when there's no communication, people just, oh my God, it creates so much chaos that is, I think, most of the time unnecessary, because it goes a long way to just communicate.
Absolutely. And not only what you said, but also just tell them how they fit into the plan. What's your expectations of them to help carry out the plan. That's big too. That is very big. So that was number 3. Number 4 is have a sense of humor. What I do for a living is very high stress at times, and sometimes you just got to take a moment to just laugh at it, or laugh at each other, or laugh at yourself. Otherwise, this job will chew you up, spit you out. And
isn't it kind of dry too?
Can be.
It can be. It depends on the person, I suppose. But to me, and one of the younger guys that used to work with me got a promotion and moved out of state, and he asked me, for some feedback. And one of the things I did tell him was, be Peyton Manning or Joe Montana. You're the quarterback now. When the chips are down, don't panic. Don't show panic. Just say, things are rough, but we're getting through this. And I used the analogy of the Super Bowl. Joe Montana, I don't know what Super Bowl number it was, but they were playing Cincinnati and they were down. And it's fourth quarter and it's late in the game and they're getting ready to start their game-winning drive. And everybody's in the huddle looking for him, like, what are you going to do? And he's like, hey, isn't that John Candy? And that's the kind of thing. It's like, show people that, hey, we've got this. Yeah, it's going to suck for a little while, but we've got this. And having a sense of humor is part of that. Just showing people that, hey, it's all right. We're relaxed here. We're going to handle this. Here's a joke or something. It goes a long way.
Yep.
No comment?
You haven't said anything I should argue with.
I got no jokes. I'm not funny.
I just go with the fact that you haven't said anything that's not true.
All right. Well, let's see what happens when I say number 5. It's
Bring
trust.
it.
Trust your people.
What?
You brought them on for a reason. Trust them to do it. And one of my favorite sayings, I don't even know if I read this somewhere, if I've made it up, but if you don't trust your people, if you trust your people, they may let you down every now and again. But if you never trust them, they will always let you down. And I live by that. You got to have the right. You put these people in place, so obviously you think they're the right people. Trust them to do the job you hired them to do.
That's very, very difficult to do in a lot of places. I have no idea why, but it is. No, I'm not saying that it's difficult for like most normal people to do, but it just seems that I don't know what it is. I don't know if that leadership has been burnt before, or that they just think that everybody's incompetent. I don't know what it is, but it seems like people have a hard time trusting people. Yeah. And the other thing is that they don't. So one of the things that I find interesting, especially because I don't work just for one company, I have to go consult in other companies, is that people make mistakes, and instead of making those mistakes an opportunity to teach people and make them better at what they do, and just bring them along, it's like, oh, they messed up once, that's it, they lost trust, and there's a lot of things that that you can use those opportunities to just build that person up and say, hey, this didn't go the way that it should, but this is probably the way that we should do it. And I don't know if people just get tired of doing that, and maybe I would have to be, in a leadership position for for people like that. But every single time that I've had the opportunity to lead other people or to have people that work for me, When people make mistakes, I think it's just an opportunity for them to grow and learn from
Exactly.
those mistakes. And I think that comes with trust. Trust that they're gonna do the right job. But I've seen so many people just hell bent on, well, you gotta get rid of the people that don't work out, and it's like, well, then hire better. you know,
Exactly.
do a better process, while they're hiring, so you don't have to fire people. And I hear that so much, and especially one of the big corporations that I work at, and this was years and years ago. Like there were so many people afraid to lose their job, and it's like they created this culture of like everybody's gonna get fired type of thing, and it's dumb. It's like hire the right people so you don't have to fire people, and trust them to do the right thing, and just make mistakes, things that they can learn from.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite supervisors I ever had, his saying was, "Nobody ever really learned anything when things went right, but you
Right.
always learn stuff when things went poorly." And yeah. And to tie it back into a movie, Sylvester Stallone doesn't trust his people. He's not going to lay his life on the line with these guys. Granted, it's
Right.
extreme. It's not that way in corporate America. But if you think about it in that instance, he would have to go in by himself. And I think a lot of leaders fall into that. Well, I got promoted so because I'm better at this job than anybody else, so they just have to do it my way or no way. And you can't do that. Part of trust is also if you're checking somebody's work to check to see if it's right, not whether if you would have done it that way. And
Right. Oh,
so
that's also so difficult to do, or so difficult for some people to do.
it
That
is. Yeah, I see it all the time.
that is like, just because somebody did something in a different way, took a different approach, it doesn't mean that they did it wrong. I was recently talking to because I have to talk to hire people that hire other people or whatever, and I had to interview people before. And you know what? Especially when you talk about software development, there are people that are very fast and they can crank out code in a it's almost ridiculous how good and how quick they are. But there are some people that are a lot slower and more meticulous about their work. But you know what? When you get work from those people, most of the time you don't even have to. It doesn't even come out with bugs. And obviously there's a place in the middle where where there's a better happy medium for all of it. But there could be a place for everybody like that. And I think that you have to be able to just recognize those things. And just because somebody's slow doesn't mean they're bad. And I just heard that. I think it was in a TED talk about happiness, that for some reason in our society we've associated the word slow with negativity, with stupidity, with all of these different things, and it doesn't, it's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like somebody that fixes clocks has to be really slow and very meticulous about working at the mechanism inside of it, right? But
Absolutely.
I guess we just want everything instant and now, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
and
I
it's
totally
that.
agree. All right. Number 6. Be consistent. Treat your people the same. Across the board. Don't play favorites.
What?
You have
I'm the
you
favorite.
you have superstars, and you will develop them, and you will give them more opportunity. But if they make a mistake, you treat their mistake the same way you would treat another employee that maybe you don't see as the superstar. Be consistent in your decision making. Be consistent in the way you handle certain issues. It's just if people know what to expect, they're able to, I, I, for lack of a better word, deal with it. They're
Yeah.
just able to, okay, I did this, I'm expecting this. If you did this, and if you see somebody else do that, and you're expecting this, and instead they get, they effed up, you're thinking, oh boy, they're really in trouble, and then they get promoted. Yeah, it doesn't work.
You're making too much sense, dude.
Sorry, I even drank whiskey.
Will you try to not I don't even know what you're trying to say, man. It doesn't make any sense. Why?
So that was
So-
my
You're speaking
six.
gibberish.
So would you work for Sylvester Stallone or just for his character?
Well,
I can see Golden running into battle.
I would if somebody was like Sylvester Stallone's character Barney Ross. Yeah, I'd follow that guy because you know if he chose you to be on his team, you're the best of the best. You know he's going to give you the best that he's got, and he's going to treat you fairly. Who doesn't want that?
I think we all do. Secretly, we all want to go kill people with Sylvester Stallone.
After the day I had today, yes.
Fantastic. So, good, man. I totally agree with everything that you said. I think that we should definitely take some of those, because you know what, that's what movies used to be in the 80s, you know, or the after school specials type of shit. You know, it facilitated the conversation, you know what I mean? And you know, I don't know if the Karate Kid was my moral compass for my youth, but you know, it was amazing. You know, it made you feel good, you know.
It's one
Keep
hell
the
of a
leg, Johnny.
Sweep the leg.
Sweep the leg. Wax on, wax off.
Yeah, lots of that.
Trevor's been trying to send us questions, and the Q&A isn't working on Google Hangouts.
Oh.
Sorry, man.
Well, he can always leave us comments on the Facebook page.
Yeah, instead he texted me. He said that he stated that Kip has a man crush on Sylvester Stallone.
Oh,
Maybe I do.
Yeah.
that is kind of true.
Yeah,
I'm kind of jealous.
you should be.
He's only like 5 feet tall.
I know, and he's like 100 years old. And he can still kick my ass, so...
He probably, well, I don't know, dude. I think he wears a lot of makeup and does a lot of Botox. Not to rag on your crush, but
Dang
I
it.
think he's more plastic than.
My whole life has been a lie.
So
What am I gonna do?
I don't know. But Morph, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Sorry I took
Go
so
ahead.
long.
No, you're good.
No, that was a good topic. That was a very good topic. Go ahead, Locktar. You're next on the list. Go for it.
All right, I'm gonna try to be quick and not long-winded.
Yeah, right.
So I'm pissed. I am absolutely pissed at Blizzard because I was so freaking ready to stop playing WoW altogether, and I had not been even logging in lately. And they go and freaking hit it out of the park with this stupid trailer. Just the trailer. Just the freaking trailer. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Like, I was just, like, I didn't give a shit that they were going to do the whole different timeline. I'm like, you know what? I could care less about the stupid orcs, whatever. Go build your stupid garrison. I don't give a shit. And they go and put this amazing freaking cinematic together, and it just got my blood pumping. It just looks so freaking amazing. The story twist is, because they've been saying that that's not going to be the story twist, and then when you see it on the trailer, it is a really good twist. It changes pretty much everything in the Warcraft universe, and it's just interesting. It's interesting to see how they're going to make it unfold. And you know, the bad guy during the expansion that we're currently playing, you know, is Garrosh Hellscream, and now we get to go and see his dad, which is, he was the ultimate badass. Not only do we get to meet him, but we get to meet the other orc clans, and they're doing something very smart. They're releasing backstory in really easy to consume little chunks, because there's just so much lore in the universe, but there's going to be this little, you know, pieces of story that is going to introduce each one of the warlords, And like there's so many names and so many things in the game that you learn. Like for example, the Shattered Hand is one of the clans, and I actually had no clue because I had never read about what the Shattered Hand clan had to do with anything. And the first little snippet that they release is this little short, and it's almost like comic book style, video with a voiceover in the back, and it's talking about how just the story of that dude, and he was a gladiator and he was enslaved, and basically they kept him under the arena, like they kept him tied by one of their hands, and they promised him that if he beat 100 challengers, that he'll be given his freedom. And after the 100th, they kind of like, no, you're gonna continue to fight for us. And then so they had him chained or just bound by that hand, and he grabbed a rock and he cut his hand off. And basically everybody, like all the fighters, all the gladiators in that arena, under that arena, did the same thing. So they became, the Shattered Hand clan, because they all basically cut their hands off to free themselves and basically kill their captors. And it's just now that I'm gonna get to see how all of those things came about, because they're things that are familiar to you because you bump into people that are from the Shattered Hand or whatever, and it's gonna get you into the lore by little snippets. And now the Burning Legion is like the ultimate bad force in the universe, and when it comes to Warcraft, and they just in the in the cinematic they go ahead and they kill Manoroth, which is this big bad dude, and they just split his head open, and now this is gonna be a different story now. And it's funny because his people are not going to be enslaved anymore, because they became basically slaves to the Burning Legion. Now they're not going to be slaves, but they're still going to be conquerors, and it's going to be interesting. My woman has been playing the beta, so I've been watching her play some things, and I don't like playing the beta because I don't like to. I hate questing as it is, so I don't want to do the quest twice if I don't have to.
Yeah, I know what you mean there.
But it's been nice to to see some of the features and everything that they're working on, because there's a lot of cool shit. I think they're definitely expanding the solo game quite a bit, meaning you're going to be able to do a lot of things on your own to develop your character, and I think that's going to be good for the game. I'm curious to see how rating is going to be. All the changes that they're making sound like good changes. So they got me back in. They definitely got me back in. With that stupid cinematic and the stupid little, snippets that they've been posting online.
So for anyone out there listening, if you had Logtar would be back into World of Warcraft in less than a month, you win. You can collect your winnings at I don't know where.
You should do the Ice Bucket Challenge.
Yes, exactly. You should donate money to ALS research.
So anyway, I could spend the next couple of hours talking about all the things that I'm looking forward to, but I just want to say one more thing about Warcraft, and it is that if you haven't played in a while and your account is lapsed, Blizzard is giving you the latest expansion for free so that you can catch up. So you actually get the Panda expansion for free if you haven't played in a while. So a little bit of news for people that haven't played in a bit. You get free shit.
That's
I love
cool.
free shit.
Who doesn't love free shit?
I do. So I hand it over to Morph.
Well, I mean, on that same topic, like to kind of go into the World of Warcraft thing a little bit. It's like I watched the video, and I will say the video looks really cool. The video, however, does not make me want to play the game. And I think the reason for that is because I don't know anything about those characters. What you told me now makes a lot of sense, and I kind of want to go back and rewatch it now and see see how I can put this stuff together.
Oh no,
But
let me go. I'll post to the Geek Buys Facebook page. I post some of the things that kind of break down the story for you because you like it. The way the art
yeah.
style that they did it on is really cool.
Oh, I love the video, and what that video makes me more excited for than the expansion is the World of Warcraft movie that might eventually get released. I know that
2016.
2016 is the date right now, but as we know, Blizzard does not release anything half-assed. So I
It
would
could
not
get
be
extended.
yeah, I would not be surprised if in 2015 BlizzCon 2015, maybe BlizzCon even 2016, they say, "Wait, we're not going to put it out yet. We're going to move it back a little bit. We're not quite done yet." And it'll come out in like 2026. But I just look forward to whatever they put out because their cinematics are just phenomenal. So, with that being said, cinematics that look phenomenal, Assassin's Creed has come out and said that they are going to make a game for the PS3 and the 360. However,
Meaning not for the latest console?
this particular game that I'm going to talk about is not for the new consoles.
Really?
They are making a game that is exclusively for the new consoles. They are making 2 games, 2 different plot lines, 2 different everythings. They're tied together roughly with time period, but the Xbox 360, the 360 and the PS3 will be playing a game called Assassin's Creed Rogue. In this game, they will play as a Templar instead of an assassin, and you're tasked with thinning the assassin's ranks. So you're going to be sailing around the northern Atlantic Ocean, as well as kind of the same area as the Assassin's Creed 3, which was the Civil War type area, New York and the Appalachian River Valley. But your whole job is to, hey, you intercepted this pigeon that says there's going to be an assassination on this guy's the target, and your job is going to be to go, possibly, we don't, this is all speculation, but your job is going to be to go try to protect that guy and figure out who the assassin is, and eliminate him before he kills the target. So it's a little different take on the whole thing, but for somebody who doesn't have the money to go buy an Xbox One yet, it still gives me another chance to play Assassin's Creed, a new Assassin's Creed game. So I'm looking forward to it. We'll see how it goes.
Very nice. I find that interesting and kind of cool.
It's it's a different way of doing things than what's been done in the past. Usually, if somebody's making a game for a new console, they're just porting it back so that it can be played on the other consoles, and it's just lesser graphics or something like that. But apparently, the jump in hardware between the 360 and the Xbox One, and the same with the PS3 and the PS4, is so big processing wise that they can't do it. It doesn't work, and that's why you're going to start seeing it a lot less. That's why right now you're seeing a lot more exclusive. If the game's coming out for the Xbox One, it's not coming out for the 360. If it's coming out for 360 and the Xbox One, then that Xbox One version is just up-resed graphics from the 360. It's not using the full Xbox One's processing power. So
processing power.
Exactly. It uses Microsoft Works instead of Microsoft Word. For those of you old enough to know what that is, congratulations. You can have a drink for me.
I think I still have a copy of that somewhere.
You can say porn. Porn. It's
But
easy. Say porn. People drink.
porn, people drink. I'm drinking. So it'll be. I mean, I'm going to be curious to see if this continues because both Sony and Microsoft have said that they're not going to stop supporting the current gen consoles anytime soon. And I say current gen because that's what I have, the 360 and the PS3. They're planning on supporting these for a little while longer. So I will be curious on what game publishers do if they start doing something similar to this, where they can take a big title and maybe do a. I mean, this game, Assassin's Creed Rogue, is already, you already figure it's going to use the naval mechanics that are in the Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. They've already said they're gonna use settings from Assassin's Creed 3. So, it sounds like they're taking bits and pieces from all these different games and putting them together to make one. So I'd be curious to see if this is actually really that good, if they're able to put this out with using less resources than what they have to use for an Xbox One title, and if other companies start following this route.
Well, do you think it's because the Xbox 360 still outsells the Xbox One?
It's definitely a possibility.
Yeah,
Find that crazy.
No, not really. They have a better game catalog. The Xbox One is gimmicky, in my opinion, and it just, I don't know. I was not impressed by any of the stuff that I saw with the Xbox One. Like, I don't know. I think they jumped the shark with a lot of things with the Xbox One. I've been enjoying the PlayStation 4, though. I don't know if I pick right or not, but
well, and that's going to be kind of it's going to be curious to watch, because right now the PlayStation 4 is blowing everybody out of the water in sales. Sony is just crushing everything with the PS4, and so it's going to be a little curious to see where this continues to go, if Microsoft is able to catch up, or if, I mean, because they keep, it's like you said there, Logtar, you said that the game catalog for the Xbox One's not there yet, but the catalog isn't that much different from the PS4.
True, but the thing is, I don't know what it is, because, like, for example, Diablo's coming out for both, but like, exclusivity, I think, is hurting the Xbox One, because, like, look at the exclusive titles. Like, the people that are very into, like, for example, Final Fantasy, they're gonna go for the PS4. And they're very loyal people. Or, like my woman that loves the Kingdom Hearts. I knew that I would eventually have to get the PlayStation 4 just for that game. Right. And I think the one that they have is what, Tomb Raider is exclusive to them? To the Xbox One?
Well, no, Tomb Raider's on both, and actually the new Tomb Raider, I believe, is... Yeah, I think the new one is going to be on, like, the sequel to this last one that came out is going to be an Xbox exclusive, I think. I read that somewhere.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man. I think that they...
But that game didn't sell all that good either. It was a good game. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I have it and have played it. But it didn't sell huge.
The Xbox interface, because I've played with an Xbox One and I actually have a 360. Their interface is actually not bad, but the interface on the PS4, even though it's simpler and it doesn't have as many bells and whistles, it's just easier to use,
Yeah, I've heard that before, too.
And it's weird. And I don't know how to explain it, especially because I do work in software and I know a lot about usability. I don't know what it is, but it just feels a lot simpler to the things that you want to do, and you can figure things out a little bit quicker. But and I'll give you a perfect example. So I moved my PlayStation to the main room, and I got the the 360 now is on the gym, downstairs. So I moved it, and one of the most annoying things is that now I didn't have an internet connection because I wasn't interested in putting internet on it. And I think I mentioned this before, but the freaking, login to and I still have the membership to the Xbox Live, just kept on popping up in the middle of games. And I had to turn it off. And I had to actually go online to find the setting because I could not find it, just on my own. Like, I could not find where the heck it didn't make sense. I had to actually look up where to find that setting to actually turn the Xbox Live because it wasn't on like the profile settings. It was actually like one of the system settings, and it was like hidden under something. I don't even remember.
Well, and I think Microsoft does that because they want. I mean, Microsoft does that with Windows. I mean, they hide things in places. If they don't want you to turn it off, they'll give you the option to turn it off, but it's not going to be where it should be or where you would think logically it would be. They're going to put it somewhere else so that they hope that you will not try to track it down and therefore leave it on. And then they win.
But it affects gameplay, though. What
I
if
agree.
you just lost your internet for the weekend and what you want to do is play your Xbox, and that thing keeps on stopping you from playing the game? Like, it literally, I could not play a game because it just kept on popping up.
I completely understand that because before I have this internet, I did have that problem regularly, which was one of the reasons why I absolutely refused to buy an Xbox One when they said that it was going to be internet required, that you had to have an internet connection in order to run the box. Otherwise, it was going to be a brick. And that is the main reason why I continue to say that anything that requires a permanent internet connection is a waste of space. I don't want it because my internet does not work all the time, and I am not that far out of the metropolitan area. So if I have this many problems here in my area, I can only imagine the problems that are faced in other areas. I mean, this idea, I'm sorry guys, the United States is way too big to require internet to run things. There are people who do not have the ability to have.
And that's kind of the point of buying a console. That's kind of the point of buying a console, that you're able to just pop a DVD or whatever format they have in, and you can actually play a game. And I don't know. I don't think is an unrealistic, expectation that you're just gonna be able to buy a console, pop something in there, and I know that they're moving to everything to digital content and not having media and blah blah blah. But that was really annoying to me. Like, it annoyed me more than it probably should have, but it really irritated me that I'm trying to, and it was like one of the Kinetic games, so I don't have the controller right next to me. So I had to get the controller and, get through the menus to say, no, I don't want to connect to Xbox Live right now. I just want to play this stupid game.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree.
I had to stop my gaming session to go look to see where the hell the setting was.
Yeah. I understand.
But anyway, we do want to. Oh, they are douchebags. Micro sucks.
Drink more, Bull.
There you go. But before we go for the show, there's some homework for you guys. We want to kind of go back and we'll let we should let our producer be the one that talks to us about our year in review, because he's been quiet.
Why me? I barely remember the whole year.
Because you got the sexy voice.
Oh,
yeah. We just put Kip and sexy voice in the same sentence.
Yes, we did.
It didn't work at all.
Now we're never going to get another guest on here to interview, ever.
Yeah, don't say that.
They're gonna listen to Kip's voice and go, "Oh, too sexy."
That's exactly what they're gonna say.
I actually send that song in a cruise. I'm serious. Anyway, sexy boys, go ahead. Oh, actually, I didn't call you Mr. Buddha Bear at the opening of the show. Go ahead, Buddha Bear.
I guess we can't have a year in review without Buddha Bear being brought up somewhere.
No, we can't.
That's too bad. Well, I don't know what you want me to say. I guess our favorite episode or at least our favorite topic was blue alien porn. Back in episode 8, everybody should go back and look for that. Morph's favorite blue alien. See what show. See if you can find what show that was on and send me an email.
Yeah, you'll have to. That'll be the quest for all those listeners out there. Go back, listen to episode 8, email us and tell us what show it was that started this whole comment of blue alien porn.
Well, what are we gonna give them if they guess right?
We will
I'll just call them in the middle of the night and talk to them in my sexy voice.
We're supposed to encourage them, not discourage them.
Oh, I don't know the difference.
We'll mention their name on next week's podcast and give
There
them
you go.
congratulations.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. And our first interview happened in episode 15. Look it up. Tell us who that was. And that's all I got on that one.
You know, it's pretty interesting. Okay, this is episode 43. We've been doing this. You know, this is about a year. So we've missed what can we say? 9 episodes.
So that'll be 52.
Since there's 52 weeks in a year.
Right.
So we've only missed 9 episodes or 9 weeks within the.
Yeah, and you gotta and there are holidays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
Christmas, New Year's. We had people being sick and people, out of town, and so I think that's a pretty good. I mean, that's a pretty good percentage to me. But it's kind of interesting seeing the different places that we've gone and the different things that we've brought up. The milestones that I'd like to call them. That we've hit as just a year in review. It's kind of a little humbling going back and looking through all the show notes for everything that's there. So,
yeah, we even made up our own words like pussification and unstressary.
Yes, I forgot about the pussification of vampires. That was a episode title, I believe.
That was an episode.
Which that was one of our interviews too, wasn't it? Wasn't that an episode with an interview in it?
Yes, we had a female interviewee.
Our only
was that her?
Only
was that the week before?
Hell, I think that's our only.
We did have an author.
That's our only female guest in 43 episodes in a year.
Yes, it was episode 32.
So go back, everybody, and find out who that was.
Pussification of Vampires was episode 30.
So it was closed with no cigar.
Yeah.
And
because I was talking about the book 12.
One of the weeks that I was gone, you guys had like an actual movie expert, and not me talking shit about M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, exactly. We had Nathan McVeigh on, who was our Sundance movie expert, which we need to get back on so we could talk some more stuff to him.
I know. We need to.
Come on, Kip. Track that guy down.
I keep asking him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, let me check my schedule," and then he's always busy.
He's a busy guy.
Basically, he's like, "You guys suck. I'm not getting on there."
I didn't get one follower on my Twitter feed from that.
Probably. Well, he needs to come back. I think
lost a few.
I think we've got like maybe 1 or 2 more listeners than we had when he was on. So, I mean,
I personally think one of the coolest or one of my favorite things that we've done so far has been Mr. Morph going through and doing each one of the character breakdowns with their bio before Guardians of the Galaxy came out.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Because it made me enjoy the movie probably a little more than I would have if I wouldn't have had that introduction and that hype. So thank you for doing that, and go back and listen. If you go listen to episode 25, you can go ahead and follow. We basically did I say we because I'm part of the podcast, but it was more that actually did the research and talked to us about each one of the characters.
And I believe it was 5 weeks. So I think you'd go episode 25, 26, 27, 26, 27, 28, 29. I believe.
Yeah, I mean,
and soon he's going to do the same thing with porn. He's going to go in depth in each character.
And how can you forget Kid always bringing it back to porn and penetration?
Hell yeah.
Which is the running gag, or...
That's right.
Oh, God.
That's right. If you think sex is a pain in the ass, you're doing it wrong.
I don't even know what to say to that.
Boom. Drop the...
Boom. Did you have like a soundboard or something? There you go.
Better late than never.
We should come up with a butthurt type of sound.
Oh, man.
There you go. And you know, that's how Mr. Kib finishes.
No, it's more like this.
I was gonna go with it was the other one because everybody's sad at the end. There's always people crying.
Yeah.
Isn't it? What is it? The lap dance is better if the stripper's crying.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
All right. Anything else that we want to bring up and make this shittier than we already had?
Exactly. Since you guys liked the Guardians of the Galaxy's character breakdown so much, we'll have to. You guys will have to let me know. Send us an email. Tell me what movie, what comic book movie you want some more information on before it comes out, and we'll.
Aren't they gonna
do that again?
Isn't the next one that they're thinking about is the Immortals?
No, that's not going to be the next one.
Are you sure?
I mean, as far as comic books, I mean, I don't know what.
I've been seeing a lot of stuff on a possible Deadpool movie.
There is a possibility of a Deadpool movie. That is, again, according to Marvel, it's not in there. It's not in that third tier. I think third tier is the next Avengers movie, Ant-Man. I could do us a little history of Ant-Man.
Yes, you should. You should, because Ant-Man is going to be interesting, especially because they're going to have two Ant-Mans in there.
Yeah, and I need to do a little research on that anyway, because I kind of want to know what the way they've talked about it. I know we talked about it last week. Some of the stuff that they've put out on how they're going to do it. I don't know. It worries me, so I want to do a little research myself. So that's the next one we'll do.
They're going to fuck it up.
Yeah, I think they will.
Oh, come on, let's have some faith.
I don't know.
They're going to fuck it up. I know they
You know
are.
what? I was worried originally. I was worried about Guardians of the Galaxy and that they weren't going to do that right, and then things started looking good. So maybe once we start seeing something, once they start filming Ant-Man and we start seeing some of the trailers and that kind of stuff, maybe we won't be so bad. But right now I'm a little worried. So that's what I'll put that down for one of these weeks coming up. We'll get a little closer to the movie release, but watch out. Here it comes. Here comes the thunder.
Open wide for Chunky.
Okay, that deserves this. Yeah, by the way, Trevor liked the butthurt sound, so
Yeah, Trevor likes a lot of that stuff.
He just likes the fact we use the word butt.
Oh, Trevor. Well, you can take care of that tomorrow. So, any last thoughts before we close this?
It's been a fun year. I look forward to the next. Hopefully, the world's worst producer will figure some of these things out. And we can actually start having sounds that we actually made. You know, like when Logtar said he loves Justin Bieber. We could play that all the time.
Oh, that'd be
Buddha
awesome.
Bear, Buddha Bear.
We could just repeat that over and over. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, that's the one I wanted to make the most, but there was no way to get it into Google Hangouts. Well, there's probably a way. There's no way for me to get it into Google Hangouts.
Well, and there you go. There's something else for
You
those
want to
listeners.
get Justin Bieber in Google Hangouts, huh?
Maybe we can invite
that's a
Justin
scary thing.
Bieber to the hangout.
He'll have his boyfriend beat me up.
Any last thoughts?
I got nothing.
Some things never change.
Even after a year.
After a year, I got nothing.
All right, check out our blog at geekvice.blogspot.com. Follow us on Twitter at Geekvice, Google plus Geekvice, or Facebook. Just look for the word Geekvice, click that like button. We're getting close to 100 freaking likes. That's amazing. Thank you. Follow Mr. Kip on Twitter at KipKilagan. Follow Logtar at Logtar. Morph, after a year, continues to be completely worthless because he still hasn't joined Twitter. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And if you have any answers to our questions or hate mail or you're Trevor, you can send us emails at geekvice@gmail.com.
Oh, and if anyone wants to see me get wet, it'll be on the Geek Vice webpage. Maybe I should change that. If anyone wants to see ice get dumped on my head, you can see it on the Geek Vice website on Facebook page. And
that's not any better.
It's a little better. I'll give you that.
It would be little.
I was in the pool.
If anyone wants to see shrinkage from Kip and Logtar, it's coming soon because they've been challenged to the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge.
I'm just glad this doesn't happen in January.
And I'm glad that we're making it happen. We're making it happen.
You've got 24 hours, boys. 24 hours.
I do, and I will. So, tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Trying to figure out how I'm going to do it while I'm in bowling. I'll figure it out.
You better go out and do it now. You could do it at the bowling alley.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on the lanes. I'm sure they'd love that.
Yeah, you know.
You can do it in the parking lot. They have ice, and they have buckets.
Oil and water mix. Remember, oil and water mix.
So I should be laying dry.
Bowling. All right, guys. Good night.
Good night.
See ya.